today we are talking to Norfilia Layton, a member de un grupo that's been in existence. ¿Cuándo empezaron los Laytons? When did you all start as a group?
As a group originally, they started in 1956.
They,
my brothers. I was not in the picture. I didn't come to the picture until later, ¿verdad? Pero ellos originalmente comenzó el grupo en 1956.
And you're all from Elsa?
We are originally from Elsa, Texas. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you started performing, doing public performances?
You mean, when you say they, are you going to refer to them or to me?
When I say you, I'm talking about
okay.
the Laytons.
The Laytons, bueno.
Okay.
Well, they started performing, like I say, 1956. It started like 3 or 4 houses down from our house, where we live there in Elsa on 329 West Pablo Layton Street. It was a baptismal event that was happening entre la familia, the communities. So they had asked my dad if they could take the boys to play. My brothers were small. Bennett was 5 years old, going on 6, but he was actually 5. Rene was 9 years old, and then Tony, my oldest brother, was 11. And so my dad took him. He goes, sí, we're going to go play. Y le dijo, los muchachos van a tocar un ratito to this baptismal. And they entertained maybe for about almost 30, 40 minutes, and that was their grand debut.
1956?
In 1956.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so they started, and then from then on, somebody heard them and they wanted to get engaged in it?
Well, actually, my dad would take them around. They're in Elsa. My parents were migrants. They were migrant workers. They used to work with Rotel Industries ahí. My dad was a supervisor. My mom también mandaba las ladies el tomate, la embotadora. And they would migrate and stuff like that. So, in between the shifting and all of that, mi papá los llevaba on the weekends, cuando estaban chiquitos todavía, ¿verdad? To expose them más a la música. And los llevaba ahí las cantinas locales, María Mendoza ahí across the street. I remember María Mendoza, Ancarrocha, all of those, he would take them and they would perform and they would come back with some earnings, ¿verdad? And they were contributions to the house. Mm-hmm. Because we were a poor family, like I said, we were migrants, and so that's how they started, and eventually they started, developing more skills, and they grew, they incorporated a male singer. I think their first male singer was Panchito Vela. He was a local, and he joined the band, and they started. And then I remember Lázaro de León also he incorporated it with the muchachos, and that's how they started playing allí entre era lo mismo, casi bautismos, eran casi puros house parties, porque no había halls, there weren't any halls in that area.
How did you get into that?
I got into the career because their lead singer, Freddie Melendez from FAR, had left, se fue. Tocaron ellos en un Friday, me acuerdo. Y en Saturday ellos le estaban hablando a Freddie, porque en ese entonces ellos they were their own roadies, ellos tenían que ir al salón y set up and everything. So it was on a Saturday morning, and they were calling Freddie, to get together. Ándale, vente para ir a set up and everything. Well, to their news, Freddie Melendez had taken off en la madrugada to California. Left him high, como hanging dry or whatever. And I remember saying Tony, my brother, he was very worried, porque pues they had a gig that night. It was a wedding in Mercedes. And I was 11 years old, and I came up and I said, I can sing. They had never heard me sing. I had, sí cantábamos así como alabanzas and things like that, porque a mí me gustaba cantar. Yo sabía que me gustaba cantar. And pero esto no sabían que yo en las noches, cuando después de cena, because I was the only daughter. It was my brothers, and then I was the youngest and the only daughter. So in the evenings, after dinner and everything, they would go out my parents had a little storage in the back.
To practice.
Y ahí practicaban ellos. Ajá.
¿Y tú cantabas afuera?
Yo no me logrito lavaba las vasijas y todo, ayudarle a mi mamá. Y luego me sentaba en el porch de afuera, and I would hear them. And that's how I memorized all of their songs. And I don't, no sé nada about tonos or anything like that, porque nunca me enseñé. Pero sé, I mean, I know that when I can or I can hear a tune, right, and I know if it's tuned or not.
Yeah.
But
it is lírico.
lírico, o de puro oído.
Yeah.
So cuando estaba, cuando estaba ahí, I told my brother, I said, Tony, I can help you, and their nickname to me was Catita, and he said, no, Catita, not that kind of music. And I said, no, yo sé lo que quieres música de la que ustedes tocan en el room. And he said, pero no, Catita, it's too many songs. And I said, I can sing. Play with me, give me a chance. Yeah. Y dijo, pues, ¿qué sabes cantar? And I said, pues, tú dime qué quieres que cante, and I'll sing with you. So he pulls out his guitar, and, he sits down. He says, well, let's play this song. So I remember he was strumming, and we were singing, and he was amazed. I know he was amazed, porque el semblante, ¿verdad? And then he called Benny, my brother, porque ellos andaban afuera. And he says, Benny, bring your accordion, come here. And Benny, my brother, comes in, and he says, what's the matter? And he said, she's gonna sing with us tonight. Well, that was a totally different story. Benny was like, she's not gonna sing with us. Her thing is she needs to stay home with mom. And like the machista,
Machista,
and we were the youngest, yo y él, and like siblings, we would have our arguments, and we would hang together and have our arguments, and he said, no, she's not going to sing with us, Tony. And Tony, my brother, said, she's our escape. This is, she can do it. Just pull out your accordion. And so he pulled out his accordion, and all against all odds, and against everything, he was really gung-ho at me not singing.
Yeah.
So, but he, then he played, of course, and I sang. And he was also like, wow, wow, who taught you? And then he started like, pero de primero, those first, gigs were like very difficult. They were difficult for me. Being very young and everything, I didn't know what I was committing to, because it was a big commitment.
Yeah, once you become committed, now you got to be performing.
Exactly. So, needless to say, pues, esa noche llegó and se pasó, and I remember getting to the hall that night, and it was at Mercedes, at the community center, and back then it was to me, it was like this huge hall, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Porque era en ese entonces estaba nuevo, el hall. I remember, once I got called up to go sing on that night, at that point in time, I kind of regretted, Yes, I can sing. But I mustered the courage, and I got up to stage, and I remember I stood on stage, and it was like an eye level stage, porque no estaban bien altas, I think it was just a little higher. So I remember stepping up on stage, and the moment I turned around and I saw all those people, I took a step back, and I even think I wanted to cry, because I even think I want to cry right now, because my emotions are taking over. But this is how I felt. I'm envisioning it all over again, and I know I took a step back, and I said, Hijo, Lord, help me, just help me make this night. I mean, if I can make this night, then I am cut out for this. If not, ugh. But I got up, and I went on, and I remember telling my brother, who do I see? ¿A quién miro? I remember telling my brother, ¿a quién miro? There's a lot of people. He says, no, Catita, you don't look at anybody. Don't worry. Just look above everybody. Nobody's gonna see you. No, don't worry. Like he was trying to calm me down. So I remember I said, okay, I'll do this.
Who do you sing to?
Who do you? Yes, exactly. I mean, okay, now you're here, and all these people are looking. And I think that they were just as shocked as I was, the audience, because they knew Los Leighton, but they didn't know Los Leighton with a female singer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, here pops a female, and the female was there the entire night. So I know that at the end of the night, I had a lot of people come up and just congratulating me and asking me, who are you? Where did you come? Things like that. And it was like my brothers, even though they introduced me during the dance, I remember, but it was still different. They wanted to know, like, well, where were you all this time, you know? And some did ask, oye, pues ¿dónde tenían esta escondida? And it's like, you know, but it was, I don't know, it was just totally different.
And did you know the songs, or did you have a
no,
songbook?
no, I knew the songs. I knew the songs because I would practice them every night with them, without them knowing.
Without them knowing.
So yo ya sabía lírico. I knew the lyrics, the tune, the melody, everything. Pero it was like their hidden secret. They didn't know, but it was an amazing evening.
Is the Ed Couch Elsa area, commonly known as the Delta area. It is my pleasure to introduce Los Tremendos Hermanos Layton.
Que estás acabando con mi juventud. Yo quisiera verte sin infiel y pagarte con una traición. Eres como una espinita que se me ha clavado en el corazón. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi amor. Yo que sufro por tus besos, ese cruel tormento que me da tu amor. Y que pase lo que pase, si en tus besos vive toda mi ilusión. Y que pase lo que pase, que este pecho amante no más de ti. Aunque yo quisiera, no puedo olvidarte porque vas dentro de mí. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi juventud. Yo quisiera verte sin infiel y pagarte con una traición. Eres como una espinita que se me ha clavado en el corazón. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi amor. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi juventud. Yo quisiera verte sin infiel y pagarte con una traición. Eres como una espinita que se me ha clavado en el corazón. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi amor. Yo que sufro por tus besos, ese cruel tormento que me da tu amor. Y que pase lo que pase, si en tus besos vive toda mi ilusión. Y que pase lo que pase, que este pecho amante no más de ti. Aunque yo quisiera, no puedo olvidarte porque vas dentro de mí. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi juventud. Yo quisiera verte sin infiel y pagarte con una traición. Eres como una espinita que se me ha clavado en el corazón. Suave que me estás matando, que estás acabando con mi amor.
Los Tremendos Hermanos Layton.
Pero you surpass it, ¿verdad? It's the love and the passion for what you do, and I knew that I liked it, but como te digo, that's the only part that I knew. I didn't know about the rest of the deal, so that came with
Any
it.
of the other female singers? Did you say, I want to, que te hayan hecho influence in the singing styles? Or how did you pick up your singing style? You develop it yourself?
I developed it myself. I singing in the back, trying out in that back porch. That's
Yeah.
how I That's how I knew. That's how I started. No sé, I can't explain because I've never had a voice lesson. I've never had any kind of lesson at all. So it was just todo.
It's just
on my
natural.
own.
Just came
By my
out.
own.
Where'd you all get your musical from? Your dad? Your mom?
Both. My dad knew how to play the accordion. He knew how to play the guitarra.
¿Y los hermanos, gente de Dios, eran músicos? en la casa?
No, they
No?
weren't. They weren't. Los hijos de mi tío, ellos sí eran músicos. You know, they played the accordion, the regular, pero they never developed. They never became musicians. Unless our side of the family with my dad.
So once you started singing and going, now what?
Well, now it was okay. This is your opportunity. So then I couldn't back out, you know. So then it was like, okay, you wanted to sing, this is your spot.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, especially like I said, because I was the only girl in the family. So I think because of that, I also put my parents in a predicament. Because now, the boys could travel by themselves in the station wagon and whatever, but I couldn't go along with them.
No.
So that put my parents on the spot
They had to
because
go now.
now they were committed to having to take me wherever we were going to perform. So it was.
A lot of your recordings, original recordings that I remember, you and Tony hacen las voces.
Sí.
When you started singing, were you singing together already or comenzó solo or what? How did it start?
With me and Tony?
Yeah.
Tony was the original singer of the band. It was Tony and Rene.
Okay.
Then Rene stopped when they brought in a Panchito Vela. So then Tony was the lead singer, supposedly, of the band. And then when Freddie came in, they were the lead singers. So when he left, I joined in. But it was always singing with Tony. Todo el tiempo con Tony. Of course, after the many, many years, when Tony retired and everything from the band, then Ben and I became the singers of the band.
There was
¿Cómo lograr tu sencilla pasión? ¿Cómo lograr que te fijes en mí?
Pero te hicieron de roca y no puedes, mujer consentida, escuchar mi canto en esta canción.
the times when you brought in the saxophones.
No, and the saxophones and I came in just about around the same time. Because I remember right after joining them and everything, we started. That's when we started doing some of the recordings. Como help me out here, because I can't remember. I'm not like Miss Ayala that has all the dates. El Gavilancito, there you go. That was one of our first ones. Luto en el Corazón. Those were recordings with the saxophones when they incorporated.
Did it put a burden on you when pusieron los saxophones in there because now it's more músicos?
Not really per se a burden.
It's you gotta pay more people with saxophones because later on that was the birth of Tejano. So they dropped the saxophones and they did keyboards doing the sound and the saxophones electronically. But ustedes, you never did that.
No, we never. Actually, we incorporated the organ with the saxophones and gave it that extra hump, you know.
Sí.
Pero no, and I'll tell you that basically for pay, it was never even considered because the passion for the music was greater than the pay. You know, you don't do it to become rich because. Like we never became rich because of our music. You become rich in enrichment and in fulfillment, pero money-wise, it wasn't. You know, we all pursued other careers. We're all professionals within, because that's one thing that you know, mom and dad did instill.
Go to school.
Go to school. ¿Quieres tocar? You gotta go to school. Y me acuerdo porque de chiquitos eran los aficionados, íbamos a los aficionados, a acompañar a los aficionados. Ibas lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, y luego, sí, con Benítez, y luego tocabas viernes, sábado, domingo en los regular dances. So it was an everyday thing. Of course, los aficionados era poquito, una hora, hora y media, la más que te gasté. Pero más se ibas a las vistas, a mirar la vista free.
Yeah.
Pero it was very fulfilling. But te desvelabas, porque the next day you still had to go to school. So venías a la carrerita, you did your homework and everything, and you had to rush out to los aficionados.
There wasn't an excuse not to.
Oh, no, you had to do your homework and you had to go to school the next day. ¿Quieres? Then this is the price you got to pay. So, you grow up doing, learning that if you're going to do something because you love it, then you don't expect nothing in return, but you give it your all. So,
Did you ever sing with mariachi?
I sang with mariachi once when I went to California.
Yeah.
Back in I think it's, about 2000. I played with Los Angeles, I think the Angeles del Sur or something like that. It's a female mariachi in California. But I did one recording with mariachi here at our studio a couple of years ago.
Did you ever write a song?
No.
Compose?
I've never written a song. I know that Bennett, before he passed on, he would always hound me, Norfi, we gotta write a song and we can do it. And I would always tell him, yes, and I guess you never expect, life to send you surprises or to abruptly, make you stop what you're doing. Pero we never did. That's one thing that we just never did.
At what point do you say that the Leitos peaked? I mean, this is the top. This year we were the hottest band, or what? Okay.
I think 69, 70, we were like, there was a couple of years that we were like, we were very well solicited. We were, called on all the time, and everywhere we went, people knew us. And I won't say that up to now they don't, because yo todavía voy a veces, otro día I was called for jury duty, right? And I was at the elevator, and this girl comes running and says, Miss Layton, can I have your autograph? And I'm like, wow, all these years.
Todavía se acuerda la gente.
Sí, la gente como quiera se acuerda. Pero I venture to say that the latter 60s, early 70s is like when we were like.
I hope I can find it. Yo tengo una grabación. Yo tenía una grabación chiquita que jugaba con ella en los 60s. Y you all were playing in that couch. En una trailer you were playing for KGBT radio, que era la KGBT. Ahí estaban tocando arriba de una trailer. Y estaba, Manny Lopez was the voice.
Yes.
Manny Lopez was the voice, y Chuy de León were there. Martín Rosales se había ido or something, y Manny Lopez took over. And I hear Manny Lopez introduce you guys on the radio. And you do a number, and then Chuy de León comes on, and you do the second number. Y lo tengo grabado, pero para guiar. Es un little cassette about like this.
Precious.
Que me estaba acordando porque en ese tiempo la estación KGBT was the one que hacían los músicos. Si te tocaban la música ahí, ya eras big shot. Y ustedes were top of the line ahí. At that time, ¿verdad? Eso was como en 66, por ahí.
Yeah.
Cuando tocaron eso. Did you ever venture out of the valley?
Venture, you mean like
¿Tocaron
professionally?
afuera, professionally?
Los muchachos did.
Sí.
They did before like I joined them. Ellos sí, they I know that they went to play in Chicago. They would play in Chicago. Anduvieron para acá, para West, como Muleshoe and stuff like that. Ellos sí. Young, when I joined in, it was they kind of conserved only to the valley, and one thing that I am grateful for them is that they always respected my decision not to play like in clubs and stuff like that, because
Sí, pues la familia.
see, the image, to me it meant a lot. And simply because I was a female amongst all males, and that already had put it put a stigma on you. I know that a lot of mothers that back then were like, she hangs around with men all the time, or she's with boys all the time, But it was the stigma that I talked to them and I said, look, this is difficult for me in this aspect because of the people's stigma. So they respected the idea and they thought it was good, and we steered away from that.
Una mañana triste, lluviosa, a una joven yo conocí. En su ventana la vi preciosa como una rosa de mi jardín. ¿Cómo te llamas, linda morena? Con todo el alma le pregunté. Qué linda tienes.
La onda tejana, well, la música de ustedes, how do you classify it? Tejano, conjunto, or
In between, I think. I think we're not a conjunto orquestal, but we're not a conjunto, a conjunto. And simply because of our saxophones, how we, it's a different sound all over. Pero, can we play conjunto? Absolutely, yes we can. Can we play conjunto orquestal? Yes we can. So we're stuck in between, I think. I not to say that we're better than anybody else, because we're not, but I think the overall unique sound of what was created, or what my brothers did, I think is something to say.
There's a group that sounds a lot like you, and that is Roberto Pulido. They did.
Well, Roberto Pulido joined the band when I joined the band with Oscar Diaz Jr. He was our
I
saxophone
remember
player.
Oscar.
Yes.
Now he's down.
Well, he came down.
Long hair.
Yeah,
I
Oscar.
remember him.
Oscar brought Pulido.
Yeah.
Oscar conoció a Pulido in Edinburgh High School, and Roberto, Oscar was a senior and Roberto was a sophomore. So Roberto entró a tocar con nosotros, and I remember, yo me acuerdo que ellos pasaban bastantes noches practicando, teaching him, because Robert knew music, but notes by notes.
Yeah.
And when you play in a band or a grupo,
gotta
you have to
think
know
fast.
it by ear,
Yes.
because it doesn't come, it's not written anywhere.
No.
So they were able to help him transpose into what is now. And of course, one beef that he did have was that he always wanted to sing with the band.
Yeah.
Roberto always wanted to sing. Y yo no lo dejaba. I would say, no. Your job is the saxophone.
Yes.
I'm the singer in the band. And I think we did a couple of numbers nomás, pero it would no, when siblings sing,
Yeah.
se acopla la voz,
Oh, sí,
because son
sí,
hermanos,
yeah.
it's the same tones and pitches.
Yeah.
His pitch was totally higher than
Yeah.
mine, and it just no se acoplaba. So we said no, you're gonna play. So he would play, but then after several years, he said no, I want to do something on my own. So that's when he parted ways, and of course he took the sound with him, and he's the one that made that sound grow.
Yeah, but that sound's still there.
That sound's still there.
The last time I heard you just played, the sound was still there.
The sound is still there.
The saxophones were there.
Absolutely,
okay.
we still have that sound with us.
So have you been recording recently?
No, we have a CD that needs to get released. I have one song that I need to finish cutting.
Okay.
My brother Benny had asked me to record bolero, muy bonito, and I put it on the back burner. When the accident happened and he was taken, I didn't want to pursue anything. But my mother's talked to me, and my brothers, and
Yeah.
and
He
my
wouldn't
family.
want it otherwise. He would have
Exactly.
told you, No te cuites.
And that's what, and that's, and they tell me, you know, if the tables were turned, he would have said, you know what, I'm gonna finish this for her.
Yeah.
And I think I owe it to him, and I will finish it, and we will release that one, and this is the one that includes this Amor Mío. That's currently, you know, and a lot of people ask for it, and they call and stuff, but it just hasn't been released, but I'm the one that's holding it back, but it will be released, that's for sure.
Okay, so how has it been, in general, how has your life been affected by music?
It's been very rewarding, Lupe, actually. I can say that I have no regrets. I'm glad that I stepped up the day that I did, and that I contributed this este don que Dios me dio, ¿verdad? And I'm glad that I shared it. Like I said, it was difficult because you know, being a female back then in that arena, no, it wasn't too visible. So I feel that overall it's been good. It's been good for me, you know, and I've left my little, if not big, but a little marca in the music industry, but I've left something that, you know, he's given me, so I'm glad that I stepped forward.
You already touched on this a little, and that's when you started singing, that here's a female joining a no-male group, and your parents had to follow you around, and has that changed today?
Like with me or with? I hope so.
No, with, you know, the young groups that you see today, young girls that you see.
Oh no. Girls nowadays are very liberated. Their dress styles, their, you know, to me it's not. To me, if you are a musician, it's your voice that gets appreciated, or that should be noted and appreciated. It's not about anything else. I think nowadays, it's too liberal. You know, the
dress, the lights, the jumping around,
absolutely,
the smoke.
Yes, it's if you're gonna sing good. You don't need a circus out there, you know. But you know, that's the difference, I think, between lo que es la música de más antes, que se apreciaba, y la gente iba a bailar, and you knew que si se levantaban dos o tres a bailar, ¿verdad? That you were making a connection with the people. And nowadays, it's not about that anymore, you know. A lot of people are just sitting, drinking, and, you know, looking, and it's like, well, get up and dance. If you like my music, get up and dance. That's what I want. And that's the difference, I think, nowadays, today.
It has changed quite a bit, certainly in a lot of ways. Estaba tocando Jimmy Garcia before he was killed right here in Edinburgh. Y estaba haciendo all kinds of smokes and blinking. Y estaba la gente que van a bailar, la estaban viendo. When he finished playing, you know, I was videotaping por eso. The lady was right next to me. Le digo, oiga, toque para poder bailar nosotros, no usted. Nosotros vinimos a bailar. Y Roberto Pérez también dice, eso no se me ve tan, parece Stone. Dice, porque nosotros no vinimos a bailar, nosotros vinimos a tocar.
Exactly.
La gente es la que baila, dijo, nosotros tocamos, es como dices tú, ¿verdad?
Eso es lo que tú esperas. Well, I think that a true musician, that's what you expect, you know, for the people to respond to you by dancing to your music. Because it's like, you know, a country singer, if you're going to hold a concert, pues you expect, you know, people just to stand there, right? Yeah. But what do you think he's going to feel when he sees a couple back in the back dancing away? Yeah. That's what he's going to connect to. That's what you connect to. Exactly. And that's what I think, you know, that's the difference between, you know, our kind of musicians back then, like from where I come from, to musicians nowadays.
How many other new singers, female singers are out there? Not too many. El conjunto no hay mucho.
Oh, the conjunto.
De Tejano.
Que anden steady con un grupo, dices.
No, creo que no.
Pues no sé, yo oigo bastantes females en the radio, yeah, you know. Sí. Pero que yo sepa que anden así, I wouldn't know.
Muchas de ellas tienen studio musicians.
Yeah, their own. Yeah.
Pero los leitos no.
No. This is a permanent person in there.
Y fíjate qué diferencia hace el estilo de la música. Mantienes la onda. Y por eso, why do you think Tejano music is disappearing?
Well, I'll reverberate what he said. Absolutely, it is the lack of support. There's no support within the radio stations. There's they're playing anything from banda to norteño to everything else except what is from the valley en es conjunto esto, porque aquí está la mata, aquí se creó, no San Antonio, no nada de eso, es aquí donde está la papa, like they say, it's here. We moved and we took some, but we brought back, and what we brought back made this this different kind of music, porque si vas allá es diferente la música. Vienes aquí and you, I don't know, it's just a different feeling, the beat, the rhythm, the way we even sing the songs is diferente.
Esa es la influencia de la música.
Claro.
San Antonio tiene mucha influencia de Santiago Jiménez en ese estilo.
Ese estilo.
Y aquí dice que la música está más tacochito, está más despacito.
Pues sí. Slow down.
Yeah. Pero la música de ustedes, I'm trying to, there is no other band como ustedes. Nadie más Pulido. Pulido, he went out in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Pero ustedes mantenieron ese sonido.
Always.
And why? Right?
That's who we are.
What? That's okay.
Es lo que yo digo, porque así nos creamos desde chiquitos con ese estilo, y de ahí what you do is you don't improve what you already have. What you do is you bring in more of the music, like learn more music.
Yeah.
Pero el estilo, yo digo, lo oyes y así lo crías. It's different, because I've heard otras versions of songs, como La Rama. Cuando oí La Rama, I was like, wow, it's so different the way I learned up, singing the old La Rama.
There's a classic song that you guys sing, I don't know si la han grabado de nuevo, que se llama El Cisne.
Oh, El Cisne. Oh, El Cisne is an old one, yeah. No, it's...
Pero esa también yo la he oído en muchos diferentes estilos, pero no como ustedes.
Yeah. Yeah, I recorded that one by myself.
If you have never heard the latest of norfilia sing, I recommend you do. Tiene una voz bien clara, bien profesional. ¿Cómo hiciste develop eso nomás porque te gusta la música? Como dice el programa, porque amamos la música. Pero eso es verdad.
Eso es.
No hubo ninguna otra influencia nomás que cantar.
Nomás cantar. Porque no, como te digo, a mí nadie me enseñó. Yo me sentaba afuera y yo oía, yo sola. I would sing along with them, ¿verdad? Pero ellos no sabían, pero I was singing along by myself. So I developed my own style, I think.
So what would you tell to a young girl who wants to sing?
If it's within you, I say go for it. But you be honest with yourself and you be yourself. You be original. You don't be anybody else, because who you are is who you will always be. Once you're unique to yourself and true to yourself, there's no need for you to change or do anything different, because you won't have to. That's what I'm saying.
And how are you open to criticism?
Very.
¿Verdad? ¿Te enojas si te critican?
No, claro que no.
Pero
es bien duro cambiar porque estás impuesta a eso, ¿verdad?
Sí,
pero sí.
Don't fix it if it's not broke. Muy clásico, muy profesional.
I've had a lot of people that not a lot, but I've had some people that tell me, that if you would have taken maybe a couple of voice lessons and stuff, you would know. I had this lady, we were playing in Brownsville at the Jacob Brown Auditorium, and she came and she says, you know what? She says, I think I sang the bolero solamente una vez, and I had done the English and the version, English and Spanish version, and she came and she says, I have never heard anybody sing that song except you and Vicky Carr. She said, have you ever taken any music singing lessons? And I said, no, ma'am. This is just me. I've taught myself. And she says, if you would take a couple of singing lessons, I think you would surpass, what you have now. And I said, well, thank you very much. I will consider that one day. But of course, I felt that, and this was like in the 80s, and I'm like, I'm not going to take a singing lesson at this point, because then, if I'm going to change my whole, then it's not going to be me anymore, So I said, no, this is who I am, this is how I sing, and this is my tono, this is my range, and I'm happy. And as long as I'm happy, if I can make you happy, then that's all that matters to me.
Really good philosophy. We congratulate
That's all
you.
that matters to me.
Si la llegan a ver, si quería volver, que ni lo piense. Díganle que el amor que yo le daba ayer ya no se vende. Aunque mi corazón ya no enseña a olvidar, ya no la
Yeah. Y luego, ¿qué sigue? What's next for Norfilia Lake?
Lo que sigue es, like I said, we're going to continue. We've continued with the band, kind of slow, after Ben's accident, pero we are bringing back my grandson. My grandson has developed a beautiful sound. He is a massive accordion player now. He just turned 13, pero chihuahuas. I'm very proud of him. Absolutely. I think he will be the next person to take the Los Leighton to the next level.
What about do you have any daughters?
I have 3 daughters.
¿Y cantan?
Sí cantan beautifully, but they're not the singing. They don't want anything to do. They will sing in the party, they will sing at home, they will sing wherever, but they will not sing in public. They say that's not for them, and I don't push it. You have to want to do it, si no, no sirve.
They're going to realize it all of a sudden that it's a gift que traen y vamos a hacer algo with it.
Absolutely. I hope so. Because that's it.
Es un gift talent que te dio Dios y ya, si sabes que lo
Sí,
tienes,
úsalo,
úsalo y lógralo y develop it.
No se dan cuenta.
Sí, pero no, ahorita no. They're not interested in being singers, no. Out in the public, ¿verdad? In the public eye, no. They're not. Pero esperemos en Dios que siga la etapa nueva y vengan los Leighton chiquitos and for them to take over.
Vienen como cuántos Leighton vienen ahí.
Ay, vienen como, well, el de Paul, Paul chiquito,
Yeah.
he's
Tamboreando.
tamboreando
Y luego todavía lo tiene con una acordeoncita.
Sí, y los de Benny Jr., his kids tiene un guitarrista que está tremendo, y luego el otro plays the bass, and they're really good. If they really wanted to, they could just say, what, tía and tíos, move out and let us. Pero they sit back and they observe, and they're still learning. And by all means, I will step aside whenever one of them wants to come forward and take my job. Yo le doy todo corazón. But you've got to do a good job. So, porque ¿sabes qué? Porque te cuesta mucho hacer tu nombre, ¿verdad? De músico. Te cuesta mucho decir, por ejemplo, los hermanos Ayala, los hermanos Leighton. Te cuesta. So you just don't want anybody just to come and tarnish what you already built. Porque te costó sudor hacer eso. Y quieres alguien que venga a decir, pues, ¿sabes qué? Puedo hacer esto and maybe better it. Okay, that's all I want to hear.
Y que sea la familia.
Y que siga la época, y que siga el talento, y que siga el nombre, porque es como te digo, si es un don que Dios nos manda, share it, porque por eso te lo dio Dios.
Pues, thank you very much.
Pues thank you very much, and it was really a pleasure and an honor for me, honestly, to be able to share.
Sorry to.
No, go ahead.
No,
Para
that's
eso son los directors.
Remember cuando tocábamos en
¿Veras, Pelín?
con Channel 5?
Oh, aquí
Oh, ¿le quiero Rogelio?
Rogelio y con
Ahí en Huéstaco, en Huéstaco, el Valle Alegre. Absolute live. Ay, eso estaba duro. Eso sí era duro. Porque tocabas live era. Porque los shows del Valle Alegre se filmaban on Sunday morning. So, sí, so venías bien desvelado del sábado en la noche, de estar tocando. Y pues tenías que estar en el estudio, at least an hour before, porque hacían sound check y todo, because it was live singing. So, chihuahua, so those were difficult. I mean, those were difficult. Pero ahí se demostraba también el profesionalismo del músico. Ahí se demostraba, porque no había nada de como nowadays, for example, Beyonce singing at the national anthem. It was you live, and it was amazing. Those were amazing years.
It's always radio live also.
Yes, it was also radio live in KGBT in Harlingen. Me acuerdo que we would go en las noches a tocar. And tenían ventanitas ahí, en veces la gente venía y se paraba en la ventana, but you were singing live there for the public. And you would get phone calls and
30 minutes.
Yes, 30 minutes.
Y luego el sonido wasn't there anyway, so yeah, pared.
Era live.
Sí.
Todo, dale. You sing and you play. It's amazing.
Y no sé cómo aguantan, pero es mucho trabajo tocar 4 horas de la parada.
Sí es trabajo. No es fácil. Yo no digo que es fácil, pero yo digo que no lo sientes tanto porque te gusta hacerlo.
Hasta el lunes de la mañana lo sientes.
Bueno, hasta después del baile lo sientes. Ya cuando te vas para la casa, ay, ahora siento bien cansada. Ay, ¿para qué me ponía estos zapatos? And you're like, oh. But it's well worth it, Lupe. If like I say, if the people enjoy what you do, vale la pena todo lo que hiciste. La desvela, las horas parados, quedarte ronca, no tiene que ver nada. Mañana es otro día. But you know what? Everybody went home happy. And not everybody will go home happy. We'd be fooling ourselves. But as long as you make one person happy, you've done your deed.
Oh, yeah. No doubt you've made a lot of people happy with your music and your singing and your stamina de seguir tocando y no quitear and darle para adelante and all of that. So it's and I understand your tragedy also losing your brother, Benny Layton. Who was one of the leaders of the band. Ahora tours, he was one of the leaders que estiraba y pues de repente viste uno, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Como ustedes también perdieron
Eso sí, un gran amigo también.
a su hermano, ¿verdad? Y it's el courage que tienes para seguir adelante. It's admirable. Okay.
Pues thank you. And like I say, it hasn't been easy, ¿verdad? Because you stand so many years next to, not only your brother but your partner in that business, and you look to your right one day and he's not there, and it hurts. It's hard. It's difficult, but you gotta keep on for the love and the passion of what you do.
Okay. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Marlisa Vela, please come to the stage and welcome.
Hello. For more than 50 years, Norfilia Layton has been the lead vocalist for Los Layton, a family band originally named Los Hermanitos Layton because the band members were young brothers. The youngest of 5 children and the only female, Norfilia was born in Elsa, Texas in 1953 to Pablo and Santos Layton. In 1965, their lead vocalist resigned. Norfi joined the band. She was only 11 years old and already knew all the songs, so the transition was seamless. Her first hits, El Gavilancito and Luto en el Corazón, were recorded with Falcon Records in McAllen. Los Layton, as they became known, had a unique sound that blended accordion-driven conjunto music with the horns of Orquesta Tejana. Among the highlights of her career, Norfilia Layton counts her performances for the Smithsonian Institution at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. For 2 years, she worked with the Fork-like division of the Smithsonian conducting workshops to preserve music culture along the U.S.-Mexico border. During that time, she performed for the governor of Texas at El Chamizal National Park in El Paso. Los Layton are enshrined in Tejano Walk of Fame in Edinburgh and the Borderfest Walk of Fame in Hidalgo. Norfilia has also been recognized by the South Texas Conjunto Association with an award for Female Vocalist of the Year. Now, she will be the fourth lady to be inducted into the Texas Conjunto Hall of Fame. So for her contributions to conjunto music as the lead vocalist for Los Leighton, we honor Norfilia Leighton Gonzalez with her induction into the Texas Conjunto Music Hall of Fame.
Good to see you again. It's been a long time.
I know. How you doing, Rick? Good to see you too.
This lady and I do go back a few years, recording Los Leightons with Hacienda Records. If I may read the inscription again, Norfilia Leighton, in recognition for your commitment and outstanding contribution to conjunto music, inducted June 23rd, 2018, San Benito, Texas. Congratulations.
Pues, ¿qué digo, verdad? Nada más muchas gracias a nuestro Señor, ¿verdad? Primero que todo, y enseguida, pues, the directors, thank you very much for this great honor, because it truly is an honor. Llegamos a este punto, ¿verdad? El día de hoy, y de veras les quiero dar las gracias. Primeramente, quiero reconocer mi hermano René, que está aquí conmigo acompañándome. Al drummer, René, un aplauso por favor para mi hermano. Igualmente tengo aquí representando a mi hermano Benny, a mi cuñada Irma. Gracias, un aplauso también para ella porque, y mis hijas, ¿verdad? Que aquí las tengo conmigo, porque siempre, como dijo Rick de temprano, para el músico es una carrera bien difícil porque we get to miss a lot of parties for our children. We get to miss homecomings. We get to miss birthdays, weddings, when they stand up as damas. You know, I got to miss a lot of that. But because I had a job and I loved what I was doing, and I was with my brothers, and we just loved playing, ¿verdad? Ahorita les dije que ahorita que me subí, le digo, man, subirme a los escalones estos me trae muchas memorias, because we performed here so many years, and it was always fun. Cuando uno hace lo que uno le gusta, ¿verdad? Lo hace de todo corazón y te diviertes al mismo tiempo. So, yo le quiero dar las gracias, ¿verdad? A todos y cada uno de ustedes por habernos acompañado esta noche. Con a René, of course, a Miss Ayala. Mucho gusto verlos, ¿verdad? My dad used to listen to Willie Lopez, and I remember when I was a little girl listening to him on the radio. And it's amazing, you know. Pero antes de irme, quiero dedicar este pedacito de esta canción para una persona que está aquí hoy por la noche, a ver si se acuerda. And this was my first song that I sang publicly. Iba así, un pedacito. Aguanta, corazón, no seas cobarde. ¿Dónde estamos? ¿Dónde estamos? That was the first song I sang in public, and I will never forget it. Okay? So, de parte de su servidora, Norfilia Leighton González, les queremos dar las gracias. Y nomás les quiero decir una cosa. Ojalá que ustedes se hayan divertido oyendo cuando yo canté, como yo me divertí disfrutando cantando para ustedes. Muchas gracias,
Yo soy un gavilancito que me he salido de la prisión en busca de una paz paloma después se trajo a mi corazón. Dicen que las golondrinas en una noche cruzan el mar. Así lo cruzó mi amor, cuando sin ti yo no puedo estar. Dicen que ya no me quieres, si no me quieres di la verdad. Que al cabo por ahí está la otra, por ahí está la otra que me querrá. Dichosa la chuparrosa que anda chupando de flor en flor. Pero más dichoso yo que ando